but also we have basically TP2, TP3, right? So yeah, we had ES basically create this fair value gap. This might be a breakaway gap on ES, honestly, if we are just trending down towards this low resistance liquidity and this PM session low, right, from Tuesday. This could just be a breakaway gap right off the open. Yeah, I'm going to mitigate my loss here because if we trade above the 930 open, right? If we trade above the 930 open, I'm going to assume that this high is going to get ran, right? So right away, I'm just mitigating my risk. And I'm trying to see where I could take easy profits, right? This would be the first low-hanging fruit. I could probably move my stop to break even. Keep an eye on ES here. Yeah, so this is like currently SMT, right? This is currently SMT, but I'm looking for NQ to kind of follow suit here and take out this low. So we just had that 15-minute candle closure there. Once we sweep this low of this 15-minute candle, I would say we're pretty solid to trade down into these lows a little bit more. Make a new day, new daily low, right? Have a new daily low here and trade back down a little bit more. Like I said, we had a consolidation day yesterday, small range consolidation day. You can expect both sides of the daily candle to be ran, right? So the high and the low after a consolidation day like this. So, and that's kind of what we're looking for here. And you can see when we have low resistance liquidity, we're starting to run with a little bit of speed here. Yeah, there is the low hanging fruit there. So I'm going to move my stop to break even. And I'm just going to let this ride a little bit. Just going to let this ride. Let's see what ES is doing. ES is actually trading back down into the fair value gap. Now, I would want to see ES take this high, right? Trade to this high and fill this range, right? Yeah, grats if you guys took that. Yeah, awesome, guys. Good, good, good. Amazing. Yeah, this is definitely the low-hanging fruit, right? Yesterday, we didn't take the low-hanging fruit, so let's see if it comes back and... Yeah, exactly. Frank took the lesson from yesterday. Yeah, we'll see. I like how we're trading down below here though. Still looks good. Yeah, we just traded into one standard deviation here. Now, it might take some time, honestly. It might take some time to get down here. So I might end up just, yeah, I'll probably just close here. I'll take small profits there. That was a really That was a really quick trade, actually. Not bad. I actually was not expecting price to kind of have a setup like that, honestly. Coming into today after this move, right? After we saw this like whiplash back and forth, I was not expecting like a clean move down into these data lows. I was expecting a little bit more consolidation, right? And manipulation. But yeah, that's good. I'm glad we were able to get a little something out of that. So what did I have? It was like this, right? There we go. Make sure I take a screenshot of this so I can journal it. Let's go. Do you think we manipulated 930 up? What do you mean? Like, will this reverse? Are you asking, Frank? Oh. You're saying was the 930 like on the 1 minute? Was that manipulation? Um, I mean, not. I mean, I guess it could be right. Like this is like a 1 minute power of three, right? Yeah. I mean, I could see that for sure. It was like a 1 minute power of three. Yeah, that's valid. I would say. I try not to weigh too heavy on like what's happening though, like immediately before the open, right? Like I'm not paying attention to many like PD arrays and stuff. So yeah, I mean, like, bro, trust me, trading on the 1 minute's fine. It's okay if it works for you. Like Rich, it's been working for Rich, but I mean, you just have to have way more discipline with yourself. That's the only problem that I have with trading on the 1 minute time frame is you just see way too many setups. And especially for someone like you, you've been trading for 8 years, bro. You're going to see so many setups, right? All right, let me screenshot this, journal it. But yeah, definitely I would say like be done for the day, right? Like unless, you're heavy in profits, you want to go to break even or something like that, like, you know, it's the day before NFP. I think we will move into this low resistance liquidity, but the probability is a little bit lower on trades playing out when you have NFP today and tomorrow, right? Yeah. Yeah, so Frank, like basically trading on the 5 minute, like I don't even have to think about being patient really because and like over trading because the 5 minute is just a good balance, right? You got to wait 5 minutes for a candle to close, whereas like the 1 minute it can give you confirmations and invalidations all over the place, right? There's so many PD arrays to decipher and like you might be able to keep up with price, right? You might be able to keep up with it and trade it, but I guarantee you there's sometimes context you're missing. So, but that's just my preference. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people that are successful trading the 1 minute time frame. You know what I mean? But it's just finding out what works best for you, man. It's just finding that out, and that's all I'm really here for. Like, I want you guys to like have your own system and your own ideas on like how you approach the market, right? I'm just kind of sharing how I approach it and the system I use, the risk management I use. And you can see like when I enter a trade, I'm instantly thinking, hey, where is my stop loss invalidated, right? This was my initial entry. But if price starts trading above this area, my trade is no longer valid. So why would I take a full loss? Why would I leave my stop loss up here and take a full loss if I know price is going to run through this high and take out my stop loss? You know what I mean? So I instantly mitigate my risk. And now I'm only risking, half right away. And I promise you, just learning that skill set alone, like where to put your stop loss if you're wrong, will basically make you profitable if you're risk managing properly. Just taking smaller losses and still taking the low hanging fruit target, right? Low hanging fruit target, smaller stop loss, boom, right there. That's a model in itself. Just by not even having a strategy. It's just a protocol how to, manage your stop loss and manage your trade. Know what I mean? Nothing even crazy. It's just fundamentals. But I mean, we're all human. So we're gonna make the mistakes. It's just how we learn from it is all. Yeah, honestly, I mean, there's a million different strategies out there, and you can trade whatever strategy you want. I never bash anyone for the strategy they trade, or what they see in the market, because what someone else sees might be completely different from me, but it doesn't mean it's wrong, right? And I'm wrong. I'm wrong a lot. I'm wrong very often. But I can tell you one thing, I never over risk, and I'm not over trading till I blow my account, right? I might have bad entries sometimes and I don't like where my stop loss is and I make that mistake. It's such a low hanging fruit. Oh man, somebody needs to make a meme with me saying low hanging fruit. But yeah, nice and easy, easy peasy. And we kind of learned our lesson from yesterday, right? Take the low hanging fruit and just get out when market conditions are like this. Yeah, Frank, that's what I don't like. Like when I tried to trade on the 1 minute before, right? Like there's so many like sibbies here, right? And if you're trying to trail your stop, you know what I mean? Like it's always in danger. I feel like, the wicks kind of do the damage, right? Whereas like if my stop loss was right above here, could have got tapped out and then price actually does run for target. So I feel like there is a little bit of a difference between 5 minute fair value gaps and like 1 minute, right? But that's just me kind of like talking out loud from my experience, but that might not be the case. However, that's just kind of how I read it. I feel like 5 minute and 15 minute civvies and bissies are a little bit more reliable, right? Yeah, I personally like 5 minute fair value gaps a little bit more, 15 minute fair value gaps. Maybe possibly like 3 minute, but I don't trade on the 3 minute time frame much. I take a look at it, but it's not like the 5 minute to me. You can see even on the 3 minute here, we had like a little fair value gap that we're trading into, and we might trade lower off that, right? So, um, but what I noticed is I was kind of trading both assets at the same time, right? I noticed ES made a breakaway gap, right? And if we're expecting lower prices for today, I was expecting, we already had the manipulation above, right? We traded above the weekly. This is the weekly and the daily, right? We traded above, we manipulated above, and then now 9:30 open kind of starts the distribution leg, and this is the breakaway gap, right? On ES. Now NQ did not create a fair value gap, but I was kind of basing my trade off of ES here. And I kind of had a feeling, price is going to start spooling down if this created a breakaway gap. NQ did not, but it gave us a little pullback entry that we were looking for, right? We got in basically on this 5-minute candle wick when it was on its way back down. But the reason why I just took this trade off the rip too is because I liked where my stop loss would be, right? My stop loss was up here and I could mitigate my risk instantly with one contract, right? Because I was always paying attention to where my stop loss would be. And I don't mind just ripping a trade and like not having confirmation as long as my stop loss is in a valid spot, right? I'm not always looking for the perfect entry or the perfect entry model. I'm not trying to be a pattern trader. All I'm looking for is just where my stop loss is going to be, right? And then if I can move it down to mitigate my risk. All I'm looking for. And ES is just melting here. We'll see. It looks like NQ is a little stronger here. I mean, like obviously you can tell NQ is a little bit stronger, right? It's not dumping as hard as ES, right? Um, Ever since the Nvidia earnings last week, price has been out of correlation a little bit. So I haven't weighed too heavy on SMT, right? We've been seeing SMT all over the place, and you're gonna see a lot more SMT divergence when you have choppy market conditions like this. On days like this, like yesterday, there was SMT all over the place, right? Like almost like every other candle, there was some type of SMT. But that's kind of been the case the past week since Nvidia earnings, because NQ has been a little bit more volatile for sure. So you're going to see a lot more discrepancy, right? But you can see here on the daily, why NQ is a little stronger, right? So I mentioned on the daily that we did have SMT, right? Um, ES has basically taken this high and this low, and Q has yet to take this low, right? So since it's taken the high and not taken the low, NQ is automatically stronger, right? We already noted that at the start of the session. So we can maybe expect price to trade back and take this low and follow ES, or we could possibly have another day where we kind of consolidate because it is before NFP. So that's something you have to take into consideration, right? You always have a set take profit, or do you trail up? Um, so I kind of monitor like how price action is reacting. Usually I'll be taking profits at the first low hanging fruit. So I mentioned how this was the first low hanging fruit target, right? And then we have more low hanging fruit down here. This is all low resistance liquidity. This is kind of like equal lows, We have this one that was equal lows. So this is TP1, TP2, TP3, right? Now you can hold for TP2 and 3. You might be holding for a couple hours, right? You might be holding the whole morning session, right? Whereas like yesterday was a prime example, right? Yesterday, um, we basically let price come back and stop us out because we didn't take profit at the low hanging fruit, right? We took this trade here, stops were above here, and we were targeting this 4 hour fair value gap, right? And we had this low hanging fruit right here that got ran. And some people here in the Discord, they took profit there, but I did not. I was waiting for this TP2, right? I was waiting for the TP2, and I ended up getting stopped out. But, you know, well, I didn't get stopped out. I closed my trade early. You guys saw me do that. But, that's why I'm kind of like a big advocate, especially if you're trading evaluation accounts, to just take the base hit, right? Take that low hanging fruit. Now, if you're trading with a buffer on your evaluation account or your funded account, right? If you're already like heavily in profit and you have a buffer on the account and you're consistently getting payouts, then I would say that's okay to start looking for bigger targets, right? And getting higher risk to reward, maybe holding trades, just go to break even, and hold trades for, a couple hours. But when you're trying to build up your funded accounts, and you're trying to get that buffer, just take the base hits, take the low resistance liquidity, and then have the discipline to walk away. That's the important part. I'm not going to take any more trades today. I've already won, right? I've already walked away. I'm profitable for the day. I know it's the day before NFP. Like even NFP tomorrow, I'm going to come to the market and I'm going to see like what it's giving. But if something doesn't stand out to me, then I just won't trade and won't force it. You know what I mean? Yeah, and like last week I learned my lesson on that too. Like Friday I took two losses, and you guys seen how it affected my mental a little bit. I was still talking about it on Monday. I was like, man, I really didn't want to take two losses on Friday. I was kind of beating myself up because I had bad entries. Not that I was wrong. I just had bad entries and yeah, basically just bad entries, right? Like I had too much position size on. I had two contracts on when I should have only had one. So it was just, a recipe for disaster. But, I took my two losses. That was my first time taking two full losses in, probably over a month. You know what I mean? Where I basically hit my max loss. So it was a little bit like frustrating, right? Especially when I was right about price action. It's just, my entries were bad, right? And I just managed my trades badly. But that stuff carries over with you and you don't really realize it. It kills your confidence, and that's where like strategy hopping comes into play, and like over risking and trying to get it all back, right? When you start losing like that and you start losing trust in your system, in your strategy, and that's when you really start going off the wagon a little bit. But that's why I kind of encourage people to just like journal too, right? Like journal, and not only like your strategy and like what happened in the trade, but also like how you felt in the trade, right? How you're feeling in the moment, how you felt after, maybe even record yourself trading. Look at your body language, right? Do you feel stressed? Are you tense? Are you biting your nails? Are you doing things in a trade that makes you like look nervous, right? Are you composed? You know what I mean? If you're nervous and like stressed out in a trade, chances are you're probably over leveraging, right? You're using too much position size, or you're trying to force it too much. Like, I have to make this trading thing work. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, yeah, that might be the case, but you're always nervous. I mean, like that'll come and go though, right? That'll come and go. It's just like experience being in the live market and being in a trade, right? But you always need to have that clarity